Shalom is a shalom. First, giving all honor, glory, and praise to Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Hamashem, Shai. Yahawah, the world he knows is God. Yahawah Shai, the world he knows is Jesus. Hamashiach will be the Christ. And all praises to the Most High, man. I come back at you with a soldier salutation, right? 10 minutes with the soldier, man. So ready, set, go. We're going to get that first precept out of 2 Timothy, chapter 2 and verse 3. Now, therefore, endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahawah Shai Hamashiach. Verse 4, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who have chosen him to be a soldier. All praises to the Most High. So he said, if you want to please him and you call yourself a soldier of the Most High, then you can't entangle yourselves with the warfare of these, entangle yourself of the actual affairs of this life. The affairs of this life would be, maybe getting into it with your family that's not the truth, maybe in love with your wife, and then she take you away from this truth. Maybe your children. Maybe your children. You may be going back and forth with your children, and then they kind of take your focus off of this life, right? Off of this walk. You gotta always put the Most High first, no matter what. And that's why Hamashiach said today, if your left hand offends you, then cut it off. For it's better for you to go into the kingdom with one less hand, and for you to, go off because of that hand. And that's what it's going to. Right? So let me get a quick precept before I get to my lesson, right? Parable of the sower, going into the affairs of this life. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 13, and verse 1. The same day went Yahawah out of the house and sat by the seaside, and great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that he went into a ship and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. And he spoke many things unto them in parables, saying, behold, a sower went forth to sow. Right? So this is that soldier, that great soldier that's going out on the spiritual highways and byways, entangling himself upon the spiritual warfare, right? In verse 4, and when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. Verse 6, and when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. So because they had no depth, they had no direct connection with the source. The source will be the Father, right? Because if you're not rooted and grounded upon that rock, which is Hamashiach, and to the source, which is Yahawah, then you're gonna wither up when that pressure comes, when you're getting actual tried in the fire. Right? Go ahead. And 6, and the sun was up, and they were scorched, and because they had no root, withered away. Verse 7, and some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. But other fell into good ground and brought forth fruit, some 100, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. Who have ears to hear, let him hear. The disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them parables? He answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away, even that he have. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, by hearing ye shall hear. So the Most High is literally letting them know that, those that have the understanding of the scriptures, the Most High have given it to them. Those that don't have the understanding of the scriptures, the Most High didn't give it to them. He says, shall understand, and seeing he shall see, shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes have they closed, lest at any time they shall see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and shall understand with their heart, and shall be converted, and I shall heal them. But blessed are your eyes. So Yasharallah, this is a blessing for the Most High to open up you, right? He says, for they see, and your ears for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which you see, and then not seen them, and to hear those things which you hear, and never heard them. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. Verse 19, when anyone heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth it not, Then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which is sown in their heart. This is which perceived by the wayside. But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. So hey, those are those that they hear, hey, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. They believe that we were the ones that went on the slave ships. They believe that the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans fit the curses. They receive it with joy. Verse 21. Yet hath he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, by and by he is offended. He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world. I reread that. Book of Matthew 13 and 22. He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world. Like I said, things of maybe your relationship, your marriage is going kind of rough, and you kind of stop doing the work of the Most High to kind of focus on that. No, he said, seek ye first the kingdom and all its righteousness, and everything else shall be added to you. Right? He says, he also that received seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. But he that receives seed unto the good ground is he that heareth the word, and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, and some 30. So all honor and glory and praises to Yahawah Hashem Yahawashi for those that actually receive that seed upon that good and fertile ground. Right? So today my soldier salutation is going to come from Deuteronomy chapter 8. Right? Because as a good soldier, it literally stated that you have to endure the affairs of this world, man. Right? So this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8 and verse 1. All the commandments which I command thee this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live. So the Most High literally gave us these sets of commandments. Why? So that we can endure them, so that we can observe to live. Because if you don't keep the commandments, he literally said that you're going to die. Right? And multiply and go in and possess the land, which Yahawah swore unto your fathers. Right? And so he said, and multiply. Some people may go into multiply as a nation, which that is on the carnal level, right? But in the spiritual level, it says some 30, some 60, some 100-fold, right? So that's also to be multiplying of your fruit, right? Because when you keep these commandments, you'll be able to go and you'll be able to sow that seed and you'll be able to multiply that fruit. Because one seed make a tree of fruit, right? Verse 2, and thou shalt remember all the way which Yahawah thy power lead thee these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee. So first of all, when you come into this walk, the Most High is going to humble you. That's going to be the first thing. Because he said the pride is the beginning when one leave from his maker. Right? So, the beginning of this walk is to be humble. Because the Most High said he tries those who he loves. Right? He says, remember all the way which Yahawah thy power led thee these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee. The second part of that is to prove and to prove thee. So the Most High literally is a proving mechanism. He have to prove you to see whether you love him or whether you don't. Because if you say you love the Most High, and he says in order for you to be married, the wife have to honor their husband as he was Yahawashi, right? Because that marriage is symbolic to him being married to us as a nation. So that wife has to honor the husband is symbolic as the church honoring the Most High. Right? And the husband has to honor the wife as Hamashiach went and died for the church. So it's a symbolism of the level of love you have to have. So wife, if you're not honoring your husband, then you don't love the Most High. Right? Symbolism. Right? And he says, to prove thee to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. So literally everything goes back to the commandments. So on a symbolic, you know what I'm saying, symbolic level, children as well. Children have to honor the mother and the father. So if the children don't honor the mother and the father, right? You don't love the Most High. For a wife don't honor their husband, they don't love the Most High. It's just plain cut and dry. There's no way of getting around it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're really not in this thing if you're not keeping the commandments. Because he literally said, thou shalt remember all the way which Yahawah thy power led thee 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. Verse 3, and he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might know, that he might make thee know that man doeth not live by bread only, but by every word, but by every word, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahawah doeth man live. So every word that's in the commandments, we have to live by, or else we're going to die. Real quick, a quick precept. It's the book of Romans chapter 6 and verse 23. It says, for the wages of sin is death. So literally, the payment that you get for working hard with sin is death. But the gift of Yahawah is eternal life through Yahawah Hamashiach, our Adawan, right? So it's literally telling you that the payment that you're going to receive for the sin you commit is death. There's no way around it. But the gift of God, the gift of Yahawah, is eternal life through Yahawah Hamashiach. How do you know that? The book of 1 John chapter 2 and verse 6. It says, he that saith he abideth in him, if you say you abide in the Most High, if you say you abide up in the Son, it says, abideth in him, ought himself also so to walk even as he walked. So you got to walk how the Mashiach walked. And the Mashiach walked what? According to the perfect letter of the law. So this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 3. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doeth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahawah doeth man live. Thy raiment waxed not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell these 40 years. Thou shalt also consider in thy heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so Yahawah thy power chasteneth thee. This is the point. Verse 6. Therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of Yahawah thy power, to walk in his ways and fear him. For Yahawah thy power bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks, of water, of fountains, and depths that spring out of valleys and hills, right? And that water is that understanding. Because we know that God likeneth man or compares man unto a tree. And a tree cannot live without water. So water would be that source of life, would be knowledge, would be understanding, right? Would be the wisdom. So all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And I pray that the Most High, through this soldier salutation, the Most High have given you understanding, knowledge, and wisdom, right? And I end it on my precept. It's the book of Romans, chapter 3 and verse 31. Do we then make void the law through faith? Yahawah forbid. Do we then make void the law through faith? Yahawah forbid. Do we then make void the law through faith? Yahawah forbid. Yea, we establish the law. So with that being said, and my name is General Ariyah, soldier salutation. Shalom.